Safe Haven. As most of you know, the Crisis Receiving Center will serve as the anchor for the entire Safe Haven campus, or the facility. When this facility opens, we hope that many lives will be changed as residents experience a new dimension of behavioral health care, and as we implement a new approach of providing this care here in St. Tammany Parish. Right here, within the bones of this building, literally bones of this building, that has laid dormant, we will soon see and hear the sounds of hope, help, and help echoing through the corridors. The Crisis Receiving Center represents the way to mental health care for a great many. We are proud to stand here today to mark the beginning of its future. A future we can now see getting closer and closer, thanks to the hard work and efforts of not only St. Tammany Parish government, but of every invested public agency, first responder, nonprofit, hospital, healthcare provider, and resident who has stepped up into create this collaboration of on-site and network-based partners to create a healing environment. We are proud to stand here today to mark the beginning of the history-making future. We started this project for specific reasons. The present state of behavioral health care is fragmented, expensive, and oftentimes ineffective. Statistically speaking, 1 in 5 adults in the United States will experience a mental health condition. This is just one of the staggering statistics about the state of our health and wellness. The number alone gives us all a call to action. The numbers that hit closest to home are the ones that impact each of us, each of our loved ones, each of our neighbors, and each of our friends, every single day. The ones that take the toll on our families because a mental illness has left a family without their mother or father, or an addiction has left a child in a tailspin, unable to move into adulthood, or we must watch as a family friend copes with the suicide of one of their own. These things happen. They are real, and they happen every day in our community. The cost is not only emotional, but also financial. We all bear the burden when families are broken, when families cannot function, when families cease to be able to care for their own. This facility will address unmet needs to create a seamless thread in the continuum of care. It will serve as a comprehensive, multifaceted program and a single point of entry into the behavioral health continuum for law enforcement, the judiciary, and local area hospitals. Safe Haven will ultimately become a place where all people struggling with mental illness or substance use disorder can come to be assessed, locate services, and ultimately receive the care they need based on the place they are in within their behavioral health journey. The goal of Safe Haven is to elevate the state of the accessibility of behavioral health care. It will gather all of the necessary partners under one roof and give the person in need the best tools that can possibly be located for recovery. It is modeled to create a healing environment for vulnerable individuals at all stages of mental illness. It will give early access to care, thereby reducing the cost of inpatient stays due to delayed treatment. We anticipate that through lessening the burdens currently shouldered by our law enforcement agencies and our emergency departments in area hospitals, as patients will be diverted to Safe Haven for care, that Safe Haven will ultimately save taxpayers' money. It will also lessen the burden on the criminal justice system through access to the specialty court system and diversion from jails, as many people detained in local jails are in need of behavioral health care or reentry alternatives. I really think we're on to something good here. I hope you agree. Safe Haven will be a place where the pieces can be reassembled, where comprehensive care at every stage is the only goal, where people can move through to a brighter season in a humane, multifaceted network of care right here in St. Tammany Parish. Safe Haven will heal. So now it is my honor to introduce the guest speakers. First, as I mentioned, Director James Carroll, and I will say it correctly, is the Director of the U.S. Office of National Drug Control Policy. There, I said it right that time.
It's a great honor to be back. I was here a few months ago, and I couldn't wait to come back, because so often people focus on the negative. They talk about the 70,000 people who are dying every year. And there are glimmers of hope nationally. What we're beginning to see nationally is, for the first time in 30 years, the number of Americans dying from addiction has gone down. But really today, we're here to celebrate. We're not to look at the past, to look just at the number of people dying, but through the work of Pat, the remarkable, miraculous work that's led by Pat here, but then also with such national leaders as Senator Kennedy and the Archbishop, what we have here is the opportunity for a community to come together. And what we know statistically is that communities of faith, when they work together, that God is present and that God is able to change lives, and that we're able to go into the community and reach people who need help and say, I'm here for you. At my Catholic church back home in Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia, there's another Alexandria, guys, in Alexandria, Virginia, my wife and I are part of a prayer group, and there's a side chapel, and on the wall it says, "Be not afraid, I am with you." And it took me a while, I am from D.C., to realize that that's actually what you all are doing here. And what other communities coming together are doing is you're reaching out to people who are struggling with the disease of addiction and saying, "Be not afraid, I am with you." It's a scary moment for a person when they're ready to accept recovery and when they're ready to accept treatment. And what you're doing is extending that hand right here, and you're telling them that it's okay. You have people who are in recovery here, so they're peer specialists who can say, I've been there. You have people in the community who say such things as, we're going to help provide housing, food, shelter, and take care of your needs. And that full wraparound services that you all want to provide here is all in the beautiful phrase of God's presence, "Be not afraid, I am with you." And so we can talk about the number of people dying. Here, what we're going to do is talk about the lives saved, about the number of changes that you all are making in your community. Senator Kennedy is known in D.C. and I think known here in the community as someone who is tough, and tough on making sure that he's fighting for the people here in the community. And back in D.C., we talk about committee assignments and leadership roles. And really, when I'm back in my home of D.C., which isn't a bad thing, when I'm back home, really what I see is Senator Kennedy being the champion and the leader for empathy and for compassion for his constituents here. I first met Senator Kennedy in my new role about 1.5 years ago as drug czar. And in the first conversation, he started talking about things right here back at home. And what was I going to do to help folks in Louisiana, and of course, here in the home parish. And so we talked about some of the needs. We talked about how the needs here are different than others. This is not a this is not an inner city issue right here. This is more of a rural issue. And it's tougher to find services. And it's tougher to sometimes find people who are able to provide expert services. But what he told me, and I'll never forget, was the compassion and the heart of the people here. And that has been demonstrated throughout my visits here. And so I'm very honored to have Senator Kennedy invite me back and to show me again firsthand from our visit 2 months ago, the last time I was here in the great state, being able to come back and witness firsthand the compassion and the heart and soul of the people of this parish and of this state. So with thanks to all, and a special thanks to Senator Kennedy for allowing me to come to Louisiana again. It's a great honor to be with you. For everyone on the panel, but especially a heartfelt appreciation to Pat. This would not be possible without her and the others up here. And so God bless you all. Thank you for being that hand reaching out to people to say, don't be afraid. Thank you all very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Director Carroll, so much. It is his second visit here. We hope it won't be your last. No. So now it's my pleasure to welcome Senator Kennedy, our very own St. Tammany resident. He said in the beginning when he learned about this, I'm going to help you. And he has helped us, and it continues to do so. Thank you, Senator.
I first want to thank Jim Carroll for being here today. Jim is our, when I say our, I mean America's drug czar. I call him Director Carroll because if I call him Czar Carroll, the national media thinks he's from Russia. I can't think of a more challenging time to try to address drug policy, drug addiction, drug prevention in America today. But Jim has done an extraordinary job, and we're already seeing improvement to a very, very difficult social and economic problem. So I want to thank the director for being here today. He honors us, he honors Louisiana with his presence and making time for us out of a very busy schedule. I want to thank the American taxpayer. It won't be enough, but through some HUD disaster grants, which were funneled through the state, about $5 million of American taxpayer money, your money, contributed to Safe Haven. Now, the politicians will take credit for that money. I understand the way it works. I'm a politician too. But it came from the American taxpayer. And I want to thank the people of this country who get up every day, go to work, obey the law, pay their taxes, teach their kids morals, the people like you, for their money. Number 3, what an incredible idea that has come to fruition. Safe Haven was born in darkness. I think Senator Donahue is going to talk more about this, but I remember the day that Governor General decided to close down our state mental hospital here. It was not a good day. It's the maddest I've ever seen Jack Donahue. Safe Haven is now a candle. It's a candle of hope. We have a huge mental health problem in America today. You know that. We see it on our streets. We see it in our emergency rooms. We see it in our jails. There are a lot of reasons for it. I don't have all the answers, but I know this. The problem is not going to be solved by present company excluded, by the smart, virtuous, cultured, cosmopolitan goat's milk latte drinking people in Washington, D.C. who think they are smarter and more virtuous than the rest of us. One of the reasons Jim is doing such a fine job is he's not part of that club. It's going to be solved by us, by Americans, right in their communities. I'm so proud of this project. So many people contributed to it. I just hesitate to start naming names, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Pat Brisker. She took a truckload of lemons and turned it into lemonade with the help of a lot of people in this room. She didn't curse the darkness. She lit a candle, and you helped her. I also want to thank one other person. You know, I use this expression a lot to explain politics in Louisiana. I say every Louisianians believe in justice, but every now and then we send an innocent man to the legislature. And one of those innocent men is right here, Jack Donahue. Another one, by the way, is our senator right here. Raise your hand, Senator. Yes. And next to her, Reed Falconer. Jack got this phone call, I think it was a Friday afternoon, I could be wrong, but this is his district, saying the hospital is going to be closed. No information about why, no information about savings, no information what we're going to do with the poor souls who depended on this. It wasn't right. It wasn't fair. But once again, Senator Donahue with the president, they could have cursed the darkness. Now, Jack might have cursed a little bit for a while. Pat might have too, but not for long. They didn't curse the darkness. They said, how do we light a candle here? And they've done that. And I am so proud to be here today with them, with the Archbishop. You honor us with your presence, and so proud to be just a little bitty small part of this. God bless all of you, and thank you all for your contribution to this. Some of my colleagues in Washington think that government made America great, and it's government that'll make America even greater. I don't agree with them. Ordinary people like you doing extraordinary things is what made America great. And we'll be fine as a country just as long as we remember who we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy, so much. Next, I want to welcome Senator Jack Donahue. You've heard a lot about him to this point, and I'm sure you're going to be interested in what he has to say. But first, I'm going to embarrass him a little bit because he has been a mentor for me in this issue. He's a dear friend, he and Mara both. And there are some days that you just wanted to give up. But he was there to help us get through it. So we're here today because he was there with me as we made these decisions. So with that, Senator Kennedy, my good friend, my very good friend, Senator Jack Donahue. Thank you.
I'm not sure who I am. So I wanted to recognize Beth Mizell. I served the last 4 years in the Senate with her. She's a dynamite lady, and we think great things are coming from her. And sitting next to her is a good friend of mine that's prepared himself to serve in the Senate, and I know he'll be there, Reed Falconer. So welcome both of you. So it was July 13th, 2012 at 12:25 when the Chief of Staff from Governor Jindal's office called to tell me that he was shutting down Southeastern Hospital. And you're right, I didn't have anything that anybody could print because I couldn't believe it that I hadn't heard anything about it. He was closing this hospital. 400 plus some jobs, and not just the jobs, but the people that are helped from around the state in this facility. And all those people, where were they going to go? What was going to happen to the 400 people that were here? And I remember I wasn't alone in my anger, because Senator Kennedy, who had a bigger platform than I did, let everybody know what he thought about it also. But it's a very difficult situation that we were placed in. We had so many people at risk, and that's a real problem. But it turned out, as things are sometimes in life, it was a black cloud with a silver lining. And that's what happened here. So the business community, the legislative delegation, parish government all came together under the leadership of our parish president, and we started trying to think of what we could do. And I'm not going to bore you with the details, because they said I only have a minute. So, but we were able to come up with some ideas, and we promoted those ideas to produce what is now Safe Haven. This is a great campus, and what followed the action was truly remarkable. When you think about it, look at the facility. It's a pretty rough place to begin with. In the state budget, we always look to try to get money to make sure the water was safe in this facility and you could flush toilets. It's a rough place. But, what came out of that dastardly deed on July 12th was people working together to do something for the community. And I just can't tell you how thrilled I am to be able to be part of it. And you've heard Pat talk about it, and Senator Kennedy and Director Carroll. It's a great place. This facility is going to be a triage, as you heard, which is going to be great. People don't always just have to go to jail because they have a mental problem. They don't have to get strapped into a bed in the ER room because they have a mental problem. We have the ability to find out what's wrong with those people and help them. This facility demonstrates what true leadership is all about. I work very closely with Kelly Rabelais. She was mentioned a little earlier, but she gets me passionate about this because she's so passionate. Kelly. You want to embarrass him, get her to stand up, John? So thank you for everything that you do for this facility and the community. I'm a contractor. That's what I've done all my life, and that's really all I know. I'm an engineer by training. I've been in the construction business. And I've seen a lot of people in my time. A lot of people have ideas, but they can't make those ideas work. And I see a lot of people that work hard, but they have no vision for the future. So it's very rare when you find somebody that has a vision and the ability to make that vision work. And that's what we were fortunate enough to have in this parish with our parish president, Pat Brister. She made all of this stuff work. She willed it, and because she willed it, it happened. So she's got some great people involved in it now, sitting here at the front, and I think this facility is going to become a model across the country of what communities can do that want to help people that have mental disabilities. So we're very fortunate to have that. Safe Haven has a great board. As chairman of the foundation for Safe Haven, we get to work with that board some. They worked real hard to make all of this a reality. And listen, I'm just thrilled to be here, to be part of it. It's nice to see so many faces that I know for over all these years, and I know how passionate you are about this facility and make sure it's a first-class facility, and I'm sure you will be. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack. And I'm sure Senator Kennedy and Senator Donahue thought I might not mention Kelly. Well, of course I will. So Kelly, come stand by me, please. So I'm going to relate a little story. When the word came down and we were all in shock and we thought and met and prayed, Archbishop, we prayed a lot. Met with my staff. Kelly was my legal guide at that point in time. So I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to buy that place. She said, no, we're not. I said, yeah, we're going to buy this place. And we're going to just trust God. He's going to lead us. We've got the community behind us. And once that was said, that we made our decision, we're going to buy this place, and prayed to God we could find the money. Kelly has not stopped a second, not 1 second. She does very well. I rely on her every day. She knows this place in and out, knows all about it. I could introduce many, many more people in this audience, and I'm sorry we don't have the time to do that. But this one has been a godsend, Archbishop, for me, and I thank her every day. Now that I convinced her we could do it. So thank you again. I thank all of you for being part of this historical day. Before we ceremoniously break ground, I would like to ask Archbishop Amon to come up and close as part of our ceremony with a prayer. And Archbishop, I will tell you as you're coming up, if anyone in this room ever doubted, this was a God thing, and we're so thankful to God we have it. Thank you.
Thank you, and let us pray. Merciful and loving God, you are a God of hope and healing. We thank you for Safe Haven. Please give your gifts of hope and healing to all who come here, to those who work here and serve here, and the families of those seeking healing. We thank you for all who make Safe Haven possible. It is indeed a gift from you. Continue to bless this gift. Bless the work of our hands and the love of our hearts. For you are God, living and reigning forever and ever. Amen. And thank you, Pat. It's great to be a part of this project.
Thank you so much. So now we're going to ask our special guest to come up, and Ronnie is going to set them up for the ceremonial groundbreaking. If everybody could find a seat, I would appreciate it. We'll get started and stay on time here. Dr. Wilson, Governor, come on over. Sure. Thank you. Thanks so much. Well, good morning, and thank you all for being here this morning. We're very happy to have Governor Edwards here in St. Tammany Parish. You're welcome anytime. Hope you come often, as well as Dr. Sean Wilson, DOTD Secretary. And as you all may know, we're here to discuss the details of the $52 million allocation from DOTD in federal redistribution funds. It was announced last week, but that out of the $76.2 million allocated to the state, St. Tammany will get $52 million of that to further widen I-12. So we are very excited about today, and with that, I would love for the governor to talk all about it and tell us more. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Thank you, President Brister, and I appreciate the leadership that you've shown here, and I thank you for convening this group this morning. I want to thank Sean Wilson, the Secretary of the Department of Transportation as well, and the legislators who are here from the St. Tammany area, and the mayor of Slidell. Thank you, Greg. As President Brister mentioned last week, in fact, it was just last Friday, it was announced that the state of Louisiana, the Department of Transportation, had received $76.2 million in federal funds to be used for highway projects. And these redistributed funds are dispersed by the U.S. Department of Transportation from budgeted funds that had been previously allocated to other states, but those other states were unable to fully obligate them in the fiscal year that they were allotted for. And so then they become available to other states. And Louisiana had positioned itself to take advantage of this because we had obligated 100% of the federal funds that we had already received from the U.S. Department of Transportation, because we had sequestered the match that would be necessary as well. And thirdly, because we were going to be able to fully obligate the new funds before September the 30th of this year, which means you have to have shovel-ready projects. And I know shovel-ready, that term is thrown out there a lot, but when you get money the last week of August and you can obligate it within 30 days, you know that's a shovel-ready project. And so that's why we were able to scoop up the $76.2 million in federal funds. It actually marks the 19th year in a row that the state of Louisiana has been in position to receive these funds. It's made a tremendous difference. Just since 2008, the state of Louisiana has availed itself of these funds to the total of $500 million. More than half of that has come in the last 3 years. More than half of what we've gotten in the last 12 came in the last 3 years. In fact, 52%. So these additional resources will be used to fund multiple projects, the biggest of which here is in St. Tammany. I'll talk about that in just a moment. But it's also going to be used to fund 5 bridge replacement projects, one each in Boyles Parish, Red River Parish, St. Helena Parish, Webster Parish, and Livingston Parish. And then I suspect you all are here today to hear about what's going to happen here in St. Tammany. So these funds will be used to fund the expansion of I-12 from US 190 to LA 59. And this project will widen this stretch of I-12 from 4 lanes to 6 lanes, with 3 in each direction. And this will... And this is one of 3 upcoming I-12 projects that DOTD is planning for this region. One of the other ones is DOTD is partnering with the St. Tammany Parish government for a section of I-12 between LA 21 and US 190. And for this segment, the parish was already successful in receiving a $25 million build grant that is better utilizing investments to leverage development. But the build grant that was awarded by the U.S. Department of Transportation in December of 2018. Once all 3 projects are complete, I-12 will have 3 lanes in each direction from just east of LA 1077 to the west side of LA 59. There will also be auxiliary lanes between LA 21, Pinnacle, and US 190. And as you all know, these projects are going to provide much needed traffic relief along this corridor, which sees more than 70,000 motorists each and every day. Safety and efficiency will be improved. As you all know, I-12 is a vital freight corridor as well, and principally between Houston and Florida, but the fact of the matter is it goes all the way to Los Angeles, California, so from California to Florida. In addition to that freight corridor, we know that St. Tammany is continuing to grow, and people are moving here, which is a great thing. And so all of these things are putting more demand on the transportation infrastructure that we have. Capacity projects are the hardest to deliver because they simply cost the most money, but they are critically important. And so I want to thank Sean and all the people at DOTD who have position Louisiana to take advantage of this source of funding so well. And I appreciate it. We are doing everything that we can. We know we have a backlog of infrastructure projects that is about $13 billion. And so we take advantage of every tool that we have, and we're not going to say that we're doing all that we want to do, but we know we're doing more than has been done previously. And I think this is going to benefit local businesses as well, and that they will see growth opportunities that they would not have seen otherwise because of the investments we're making here in the transportation infrastructure in St. Tammany Parish. I mentioned there was a third phase. DOTD is also preparing plans and in design for a third phase of I-12 improvements. Those will run from LA 1077 to US 190. By making strategic investments, over $2 billion has been invested in statewide projects over the last 3 years, 3.5 years, I should say. $95.6 million of that in St. Tammany Parish for 41 different projects since January 2016. So at this point, I'm going to ask Sean to come up and give a little better explanation of the particular project that's going to be funded. And again, I want to thank all of you for being here, and I want to thank President Brister again for hosting this event and for her leadership. And I want to thank Sean and all the people at DOTD who work so hard every single day to move our state forward, even while we are much more resource constrained than we would want to be. So thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you, Governor, and I'm glad you said resource constrained, because the backlog is actually $14.2 billion, not $13 billion. We're getting there, though. So, as Secretary, you get the pleasure of having to bring the truth and sometimes bad news. And I remember a few years ago, we sat in President Brister's conference room with some of her staff, and I had the unfortunate pleasure to tell her the budget just wasn't what it was, and we couldn't necessarily give it and deliver these projects like we had intended. But we committed at that time to be positioned to take advantage of what we could. And so when we give you our word to tell you we're going to do it, we are in fact going to do it. So not only are we looking at those 5 bridges as a result of this $76.2 million, and the most important thing I can tell you is we work hard at being ready for these projects, and members of our Transportation Committee, members of the legislature, they trust us to do that, and we deliver that on a regular basis. So in addition to those 5 bridge replacement projects, this is the signature project out of redistribution for this year. And every year we try to make our way around to address at least one capacity project that we couldn't do, as well as all of the other maintenance needs that we have on our system. And so this project will widen 3.26 miles of I-12 by adding a 3rd lane in each direction. And it includes widening the bridges over US 90 and Ponchatoula, I think I got it right, Creek, and the Tammany Trace, and bridges are always more expensive than surface roads for us to do. It's estimated to cost, as the President said, $59 million. And St. Tammany Parish stepped up and said, how do we help you be successful? And recognizing that we have limitations on what match dollars we have, they're contributing approximately $8 million. And the balance of that is going to come out of these redistributed funds that the state is prepared to match. We anticipate bidding this project in December of this year, which basically means we're following our normal protocol that it gets authorized before the end of the fiscal year, and then you go through the final steps of advertising and receiving bids for the project. And this is a crucial step in improving the infrastructure needs in this corridor. As the governor said, it gets about 70,000 cars a day. And in the next 20 years, it's expected to get up to 110,000 vehicles a day. And in order to provide the relief to the congestion issues and strengthen this economic corridor, a greater portion of I-12, we believe and we know, needs to be done. So we're partnering with the parish to widen the first phase of this, which is with the bill project that we received with the help of the President. We talked a lot in that application process. And then that project is going to let in June of 2020. So it is on a slightly different timeline, but I think it will benefit not only this phase, but the next phase in terms of construction and maximizing the price. And so we're excited to be moving this project forward. Improved transportation infrastructure allows for greater productivity and is vital to the success of the facilities in the growing areas. So there's one other point I'd like to make, because if you remember, there was a very unfortunate accident that occurred on the interstate, and accidents are random, and they happen every day. Last night at about 10:30, we had another email of another death on our road. And so a key important part of this has to be motor assist patrol. And outside of driver responsibility, that's something else that we can do. And these fine gentlemen in these very subtly colored uniforms on the side, I'll get me a suit one day made it looks like that, but they provide disabled motorists on the interstate with a gallon of fuel or a flat tire change, a jump start, or they just stop to check on you when you stopped. It is the most popular thing that the department does. We're expanding that service to the North Shore this year, and so we're excited to grow that program. It's a sponsored program with State Farm, and so we've got some other areas that we're going to be patrolling, and I'd like to share that with you this morning. So from 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., which are the peak hours, we're going to be patrolling I-10 from Michaud to the I-10-12-59 interchange, and then we're also going to be adding it on I-12 from 1249 to that same interchange, which is going to help, particularly given the volume of cars that we have passing through there that may stop and add to our congestion woes. And then also President Miller, I don't think has gotten here yet, but we're also widening from I-55, on I-55 from Manchac all the way to LA 3234. So that's another corridor where we're going to be providing assistance, and is also going to provide support on I-10 between the I-10, I-12, and I-59 interchange to the Mississippi state line. So programs like this add to our investment, not just in terms of infrastructure, but also in terms of operations. And so with that said, I'm very happy and very proud to have the DOTD be prepared and build projects and deliver projects that are ready to bid whenever we can take advantage of federal resources that we don't normally get budgeted. So thank you, Governor, for allowing us to lean forward and deliver this. Thank you, President Brister, for partnering with us to make this happen. And we look forward to doing this again next year, provided we have the match and have other projects programmed and ready.
We have a project. We have a project. Thank you. Thank you so much. We have enjoyed a very good working relationship with DOTD, and Dr. Wilson and I have met many times in different parts of the state and had very candid conversations. But I do want to say that he has always been upfront, honest, and told us what he could do and what the state could do, and he has delivered. And thank you, Governor, for that, for what you do, and thank you, Dr. Wilson, for working with us so much. And with that, if you have some questions specific, we can ask them now, or if you want to do one-on-one, if you have time for that. Yes.
The breakdown, local, state money to be prepared, percentage breakdown to give us federal dollars.
52 and 8.
So it's an 80-20 split on federal dollars, and it gets to be 90-10 when you do the interstate. And so a portion of what we're going to spend on the total project is going to be made up of state dollars, parish dollars, as well as the federal dollars. Now, recognizing that we have an estimate, our goal is to get the lowest possible bid. We're designed to do what's called low bid process for design, bid, build projects. And so if this project comes in less than what we estimated it for, that gives us the opportunity to stretch our dollars, and we are exceeding the match requirement on this project. So we're able to save some money, and we will, I'm sure, get a call to say, can we save some of the money that we're putting up? And we will absolutely work to do that toward the next project.
So I'm sorry. I just want to add, of the two projects that we talked about, the build grant, the $25 million, and this $52 million, the parish's portion of match has been 7.2 and 8, so $15.2 million has been our match from the parish.
How about a timetable?
Timetable. This second project, meaning Phase 2, the one we're announcing today, it will bid in December of this year. The bill grant will bid in June of this year, and the department will bid that out. I'm sorry, June of 2020. It all seems to run together. And we don't know the length of construction until we actually get the bids, because in the process, they present us not only a price, but a number of days. And just to be prepared, these are not going to be overnight construction projects. It's going to take a little time, and given what we see with weather, many of the projects that we have underway right now are about 30% over their time limit simply because of weather delays, and so we don't expect that to change. But as those bids come out, you will get a really nice press release from both of us, meaning the state and the parish, announcing that it's been bid, who received the bid, how many days it's taken, and what the value of that bid was.
Yes.
The estimate about the next project, but what's the priority level from Mandeville to Slidell? It shows people on the east side, like, start seeing everything over here, you know how that goes. So what's that?
Sure. You're asking me about my priority? Let me just mention something, then I'm going to turn it over to you. So if you recall, the first portion of the widening was the Slidell to North Shore Mall. So that part has been done. So we'll do this part, and that in between will be a priority also. So I will let you speak to that. We're always waiting.
Well, it's the priority is contingent upon funding and availability. And the reality is we can get plans ready. If I don't have the dollars to build them and those plans expire, I have to go back and redesign them, and that's not the best way to spend the state's dollars. And so when we know we have revenue, we've been fortunate under this governor to receive a lot of one-time money, a lot of surplus money that we've been able to receive. The major investment, we've got $50 million in HB 578 that the governor signed to go to 3241, which is a priority for us as well for decades. And so we are strategic, and we're thinking based on what we have. Our next priority in terms of what happens here is to make sure we're ready to go on that third phase. And then we look around the state and see where we have real maintenance needs. And unfortunately, we do not have a programmed amount for capacity. As the governor said, we rely on one-time money, and we're going to get projects ready, but I'm not going to get 20 projects ready when I know I'm only going to get an extra $75 million maybe, or an extra $50 million. So all of them are our priorities, but it also speaks to how we constrain that to dollars.
And I'll just add this. Our ability to do these capacity projects is limited because we are more resource constrained than we want to be. But one of the things that has made a tremendous difference is for each of the last 3 fiscal years, we've actually run surpluses rather than deficits. And those surpluses are essential because they can only be spent on 5 constitutionally permitted purposes, but one of which is to provide the non-federal match for construction projects in the Highway Priority Program. This past year, we had to take $40 million of our surplus to pay the non-federal match of just our regular program dollars. And had we not done that, we would not be in a position to avail ourselves of these reprogrammed dollars at all. So we're going to continue to try to lean forward and position ourselves to take advantage of every funding source that is available to us within our means. But that is one of the reasons why it is so much better to have a surplus than a deficit. Deficits by themselves are very destabilizing, but you don't have that additional capacity to then take advantage of the opportunities like we're seeing today. And quite frankly, that is why more than 50% of all the reallocated money over the last 12 years, that $500 million I talked about, has come in the last 3. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Fantastic. Huh?
Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. Happy to do it.
If anyone wants one-on-ones, just come on up.
I feel certainly
I thought I did my swan song when we closed our other building, but I see I'm back again. It's hard to keep an artist down, and we enjoy being on stage. They'll probably have to kick me off when I can no longer memorize lines and remember my blocking. I did not do theater in high school because the teacher who taught that art told me I had no talent for the stage. So I devoted my time to the school newspaper. I was editor for 2 years. But then in college, I wanted to prove them wrong. So that's when I decided to pursue my career, my driven urge, my desire to perform. So.
That teacher even came to one of our plays, and when he reminded him what he had said to him, he said, well, boy, was I wrong. I do the cooking backstage, not on stage.
And I'm going to say this, and I said it one night and people booed me, but I know my place is on the stage and I know my wife's place is in the kitchen. And I say that jokingly because she will not come out front except to greet people, but she will not be on the stage.
I enjoy seeing Ricky get on stage and do the thing I know he loves to do. And I love cooking, and I love being able to help people and feed them.
This year marks my 20th year anniversary of painting, being a professional painter. I started one summer. I was a single mother and had been a CPA and needed something to do, and my mother was an accomplished painter and had shown in museums, so I said, let me borrow your paints. I have a couple of pieces of art that stand out in my mind. One that changed my career was a piece that I painted plein air at St. Mark's Square in Venice, Italy, on a plein air painting trip. That piece was on the cover of Inside Northside magazine, and also was the first piece for me to go into a national and international show. So it was real, career-changing piece of art, an abstract of pastel and mixed media of St. Mark's Square. The most memorable moment was last year in my art career when I was juried into the Ogden Museum Louisiana Contemporary show. It was just so meaningful. It gives me chill bumps to think about it. To actually be hanging in the Ogden Museum was truly the most memorable moment so far.
I am an artist by trade, and I used to draw in high school. Well, I started drawing again, and I wanted something to kind of depict like a character of what New Orleans and Louisiana was all about, and George Rodrigue, the blue dog, was kind of an inspiration to me. And this little voodoo doll just kind of drew herself on the page. I said, well, she's a voodoo doll kind of thing. So I said, well, I'm going to have her come to life with a good deed spell, and that way she can spread goodness, change negatives into positives, and teach children how to do good deeds. And I wrote the book. I had $168 to my name at the time, and I took all of that to buy 30 books. Took those books, I sold them, bought 60 books, and so on and so on and so on. And then now, let's see, we're in 2019, I've probably sold over 17,000 copies of my books, and I have 10 published at this time. This, I truly feel, is my path that I have been chosen for. And it just, I wake up with a smile every day knowing that I am teaching children about the American flag. I am teaching children about our New Orleans culture. I am making them happy. I am helping them learn how to read in a fun, entertaining way. And, they do this at schools. I do readings at schools. So to me, like I said before, it's kind of the life source of everything. I mean, we learn everything by reading and teaching our children. And I'm doing that. Like, how much more cooler can that be?
When I was in high school, I always was involved in the choirs and all the singing and all the plays and all the theater. And so I've loved singing forever. I played clarinet in high school too. And so the clarinet naturally involves in the saxophone. And one afternoon, my husband came home with a saxophone and said, look what I got you. And I looked at him and said, what makes you think I can play that? And sooner or later, I played it and picked it up and just progressed slowly through the years, and I hope just to get better. And I started taking piano lessons when I was about 22 or 23 years old, and started playing the piano on stage. And I've been playing guitar probably since I was about 8 years old. My stepfather gave me a beat-up old hollow-bodied, guitar that I would drag back and forth to school on the bus because the third-grade teacher was giving us free guitar lessons. And so I learned how to play guitar then and wrote my first song called "That Was the Way I Was Born" at 8 years old. I was invited to sing with Ronnie Cole and John Perkins at a fundraiser. And I was so flattered that Ronnie, asked me to sing 3 songs and that he was going to play piano. And so the first thing I knew I had to do was go buy a beautiful dress, because I had this vision, it was on my bucket list that I would be, draped across the piano with this beautiful dress on. And of course, to have Ronnie Cole play and John Perkins be a part of the show would be a dream come true. I go about my business. I love what I do. I don't do it for any recognition. But to be recognized after all the years of hard work and little behind the scene things that I do, it's almost like a wink from God for me to continue what I do.
Well, there's so many great restaurants in St. Tammany, so it's an honor to be amongst them, and there's great ones that have great settings. But obviously, I think what Palmetto's has that's very special is the setting, and we're trying to elevate everything that we do to match the setting, because we know how special the setting is. My mom is a great cook, and so I always love to eat, and I guess when I went to college, I started cooking, and I've worked in restaurants all over New Orleans, in the front and the back, cooking and serving, and saw it from both sides, and that's when I decided that I think I like the hustle and bustle and the excitement of the industry. One of the main lessons I've learned was to try to really get the best people I can around me, and I feel now that I have the best team that I've ever had, and so that's real exciting. And so our chef, Sean Solomon, is doing a great job, and every day is coming up with different specials and different things, and we're creating seasonal menus, and so that's all exciting.
Well, when we first started, needless to say, we probably had a couple of hundred artists apply, mostly local. Now we're up to over 500 artists apply every year. It's a juried event, so only 200 get in. So it's become nationally known and nationally recognized, and people look forward. They put this event on their calendar the same year, because we announced the next year's dates. For St. Tammany Parish, and in particular Covington, we bring in between 50 and 60,000 people over that particular weekend. So the tax revenues derived from it are tremendous, and this is our 23rd year. So this has been an ongoing project that continues to grow every year. And if you want to invest in a very high quality piece of art, you can do it there. We've got everything from $10 pieces of jewelry to $50,000 pieces of art. It's a great family event, so you bring out your kids. It's just a wonderful place to go. There's something for everybody.
One of my favorite things that we did actually was our 20th anniversary concert, and that was amazing because we brought in previous conductors and former singers, and to hear about the history of the group, and that we still have members singing who were there when it began in 1995 and who have helped us evolve over time. It was just an amazing experience to all be together and to know that we're on the right track.
I think it's the dedication that everyone has, the appreciation for how special North Lake Performing Arts Society is, and the excellence of Alyssa as director and Amy Pratt as our assistant, and of course Irina Kunov as our pianist. I mean, the caliber that we have, and there are so many people that are members of the organization who are professional musicians, and everyone is equal. So whether someone can really read music or not, we're all on an equal playing field, and that's what makes it very, very different.
Last year we featured all of our members who are artists as well, and they brought all the different artwork to the concert. We've had dancers at our concert when we've done some wonderful 50s music, the professional dancers who've come in and they're dancing on the stage while we're singing. So it's a pretty exciting evening of music, singing, dance, art, and a time just to get together with your friends and go out for a good night.
It's a joy for us to be up there performing. What we want is to radiate out that joy and to be able to see our audience having a wonderful experience, because it's one thing feeds on the other.
You know, when you're gone, it's really what you did for others that is your legacy, and that's all of us. You know, she just did it like to this crazy degree, which was beautiful and amazing, but it's doable. She was human, and you know, she's not on some pedestal. She loved what she did, and so it was easy for her. But everyone can find, I think, happiness in giving back and
absolutely,
and being a part of something bigger than themselves.
For me, she led by example. It was never, she never talked or boasted or about what she did, but we just saw. You know, extend that helping hand whenever possible, and you watched her do it time and time again.
She really had a soft spot for local artists, and especially those that were maybe struggling, and she would support them and buy pieces, and then sometimes those years later they would, you know, become really big and sought after, and she would show us, and we'd go through her house and she'd point out the ones, you know, that this is this name and this is, oh, and you might see him in the community, what have you. But from when we were really little children, she had multiple Clementine hunters, and she would tell us, now, don't forget,
if anything happens to me,
if anything ever happens to me, these are the really, really, you know, important ones, and don't put them in the garage sale, right? Not knowing.
So I told Stacy, I said, we really need to get those appraised. Need to do a lot of things right now, and so she sets it all up, and the appraiser says they're fake.
Oh, no. I got this very nice email, but yeah, very disappointing, saying I had them seen by a professional and spotted the fraud right away, that it was, I guess, it was rampant back in the 70s when she and my dad purchased them and they got had. So, but she spent her whole life thinking they were real, which brought her so much joy.
Somebody's very lucky she never found.
That's right. That's right. It means a lot to me and to Craig. Just to know, to have her be recognized, because a lot of what she did in supporting the arts, you know, she wasn't an artist, but by God, she knew good art, and she
not necessarily.
Well, it looked good, but she did appreciate. You know, she was a lover of the arts, of all arts, and I think this would really mean a lot to her.
What was it like to realize the impact that she's had?
Beautiful. And it makes you want to go be that person.
Yeah.
The greatest form of generosity is the type that doesn't get noticed, that you do it for the sake of the good. Yeah.
We lost a good one.
Yeah.
We did. I just want to say thank you. You know, for years, Mom was sick, and still nobody knew. She never slowed down. Just thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Steve Seflu, and welcome to another edition of Lifestyles. Today we're here with Mr. Brian Schneider, who is going to talk about the Native American Month at the Bayou Lacombe Museum. Brian, tell us about it. Where is the museum located?
The museum's located on the school grounds of Bayou Lacombe Middle School, but one of the best ways to find it, especially on a weekend, is if you can find Sal and Judy's.
The big pink building.
Right. That's on
the gas station.
That's 14th Street. You just go 2 blocks behind Sal and Judy's.
Okay.
So we're just 2 blocks off of 190.
Okay.
And, in the oldest wooden schoolhouse in St. Tammany Parish, built in 1912. It wasn't built by the school board. It was built by an individual for his kids and his workers' kids to have a school. But after 1 year, he realized that he was better at lumber than at education, so he sold it to the parish for $1.
Whoa.
And it's still there, and it's a big 2-room schoolhouse that has been actually a museum now.
For how many years?
Well, it came out of the 1976 bicentennial celebration. Those people did a really great job with that, and they looked at each other and said, what do we do now? And somebody said, let's have a museum. So they started collecting things.
Okay.
But it wasn't until 1985 that they fully inhabited the building, because the school was still using part of it for their music room.
Oh, okay.
But after 1985, they continued to collect and build up the collection in the museum. But the funny thing is, from about 2000 to 2015, the museum was only open 2 hours a month.
That's it?
And we weren't really sure which 2 hours.
It was hit and miss, and it was mostly miss.
So it mostly missed. Most people who live in Lacombe said, I always wanted to go there, but I never knew when it was open. Well, now we're open 21 hours a week. We're open from 10 to 4, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and from 1 to 4 on Sundays.
And what does
every
it
week.
cost?
It's $3, the normal admission's $3 for adults, $2 for seniors, 65 and up, and $1 for children, I think, between 6 and 18.
Okay.
So, but this month, November being, well, this coming weekend, I guess right after the show runs, will be Veterans Day on Monday. So we're doing a program this Saturday to
Which would be?
Well, that would actually be before this show airs.
But are you going to do it again after?
Well, we're going to have a different program every week, every Saturday afternoon from 1 to 4. The second week,
Which is going to be November 16th.
The 16th, right.
Okay.
I call that the physical activity weekend because we're going to have Choctaws coming in from different places, primarily the Gina Band of Choctaws, as well as Mississippi Choctaws, and they're going to demonstrate various dances that they do, and they're going to encourage audience participation to get up and dance with them.
Is this going to be in the museum or outside?
There'll be both in and out. So if the dances get so big and the weather's just right, we'll be outside. But the other thing we're going to have is a demonstration of America's oldest outdoor sport, which is stickball. Now, I don't know much about stickball, but
they used to play in New York, right?
Yeah, the Indians have been playing this game here for 400 years, and they're going to demonstrate that out on the adjoining property.
It's like baseball in early stages, right?
I think it's similar. I think it's very similar. I've never seen it done, but I'm looking forward to it.
You've never seen it done?
I've never seen stickball.
Okay.
No. But we're going to have those demonstrations. On the 23rd, we're calling that Father Rouquette.
Are these Saturdays?
Every Saturday.
Okay.
Correct. Every Saturday. And on the 16th, we'll have Father Rouquette Day. And Father Rouquette...
The 16th or the 23rd?
Oh, I'm sorry, the 23rd.
23rd.
Thank you.
16th is stickball, 23rd is
stickball and dancing and a lot of activities. By the way, we will have refreshments every day for people, you know, something to eat and drink, nibble on, and some homemade goodies.
Okay.
But Father Rouquette Day on the 23rd is to recognize his contributions to not only Lacombe, but Louisiana and the United States, because he was a world-famous writer who spent the last half of his life living amongst the Choctaws on the North Shore. He got to learn their language, which is a very difficult language to learn, and because most of it was never written. It was a spoken language. But he transcribed it and rewrote parts of the Bible in Choctaw after he taught Choctaws how to read Choctaw.
Do you know how to talk Choctaw?
Who can talk Choctaw?
Do you know how to talk Choctaw?
Let's see. I know Yokoki.
What does that mean?
Thanks for visiting with us.
Yokoki.
That's it. That's all I know.
All right, that's good.
That's something. But
wait, before I forget, are these free on these Saturdays?
Yes, every Saturday
it's free.
It's free.
Okay.
Correct. Wait. No. Let me take that back. It's free on the first Saturday, which will be this coming Saturday. But the 16th, 23rd, and 30th, we're charging our regular admission.
I got you.
The $3, $2, $1 admission.
Okay. And refreshments are extra.
Refreshments will be free.
Oh, okay.
And we do have a gift shop with a few things like this T-shirt, some coffee mugs, and things like that. We have a raffle going on for some very beautiful Indian jewelry, beaded jewelry, a necklace, and earrings made by a local Indian. And so we're raffling that off.
We got a couple of minutes left.
Okay, so
So Father Roquette's going to be the 23rd.
The 23rd, and talk about his contributions plus his relationship to the Choctaws. And some people know that in Lacombe, our elementary school is named Shata'ima.
Right.
Which means like a Choctaw, and that was what they called Roquette. He was so much like a Choctaw, they called him like a Choctaw.
What's on the 30th?
The 30th is a whole lot of fun because we're going to have a lot of craft demonstrations.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have somebody tanning a fresh deer hide. We'll have people weaving baskets in a traditional Choctaw way and method. We will have some beadwork being demonstrated and how they string those little tiny beads into some fabulous things. But we're going to have Tom Colvin there demonstrating how to shoot things down with a blowgun. And that should get some
Is that a dart, like a blowgun?
Yeah, exactly. And these things are about 10 feet long. And
you don't inhale, do you?
No, don't breathe back. So we'll have all those different demonstrations going on that week for people to look. We'll have speakers every week as well to start off each day, each Saturday at 1 o'clock. By the way, each one of these is between 1 and 4 on Saturday.
And what's the physical address?
Physical address is 61115 St. Mary Street.
Okay.
And
got a website?
Website is BayouLacombMuseum.com.
Okay. Phone number?
Phone number 985-788-1403.
Okay, we got about a minute left. So on 11/16, we're going to have
various Choctaw dances demonstrated with audience participation, as well as a demonstration of stickball and a lot of the physical activities that the Indians did.
Okay. 23rd.
23rd, Father Roquette Day, where we'll talk about the interesting history. Some of his poetry will be read out loud, and he was quite a writer.
And the 30th?
The 30th, we're going to have a lot of fun with craft demonstrations of original items that are made by Choctaws in their original way. And we will have Choctaw people there demonstrating these crafts.
Oh, and the blowgun.
The blowgun. That's going to be fun. We have to figure out where the target's going to be because...
You're not going to have T-shirts with targets on it, are you?
No.
And these posters you can get, they're free?
Right. They are free. You can come by the museum and pick one up if you like. We're putting them up in different places, of course.
And we got to wrap this baby up. So the museum's office is open on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from what hours?
10 to 4.
Okay. It's $3 for adults, $2 for seniors 65 and over, $1 for children 6 to 18.
Right. And we're open Sunday from 1 to 4.
That's right. Okay.
Every Sunday.
And the address?
The address 61115 St. Mary Street, Lacombe.
Right behind Sal and Judy's.
Right behind Sal and Judy's on the school grounds of the Bayou Lacombe Middle School.
Website again?
Website, BayouLacombMuseum.com.
Phone number?
985-788-1403.
And it's from 1 to 5?
It's 1 to 4.
1 to 4.
Each Saturday.
Okay.
Every Saturday in November.
Thanks, Brian.
Steve, thank you. We appreciate
Anytime.
your
Come
time.
on back. All right, look, we got 11:16, 11:23, and 11:30 from 1 to what?
1 to 4.
1 to 4. Bayou Lacombe Museum behind Sal and Judy's. You have a great time. You can pick up one of these and get some Indian jewelry. We'll be back with our next guest in a few minutes, so come on back. And don't forget, 11:16, 11:23, and 11:30. Take care.
Hey, Hard, what's this? That's my resignation. You're resigning. Why? You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit. Oh, I forgot. I'll do better. Please don't quit on me.
Don't let your heart quit on you. Get your uncontrolled high blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late.
Hey, we're back with Miss Debbie Bressler, who is with New Heights Therapeutic Riding Center. She is the publicity and marketing person. Tell us about this. This is all new to me, but I've heard it's very popular.
It's very popular. It's equine, which is horses.
Okay.
They're used as a therapy tool.
And it says here, volunteers are our heart, horses are our soul.
That's right. We are looking for volunteers because the popularity of equine therapy has really increased in this country. And as it's increasing everywhere, it's increasing out here for us as well.
What does the therapy entail?
Well, the horse is the tool. We do two types of therapy. One is called adaptive therapy, which uses horsemanship skills to teach trust and social skills to different types of challenges. We have adults and children, physical, emotional, and cognitive challenges. And the horse is a therapy tool. It is the therapy tool. A lot of people try a lot of the traditional therapy, and it may not work, or they may want want something different, and they're coming to us. And the popularity is just really increasing. And the more it increases, the more riders we get. The more riders, the more volunteers we need.
Is this because they have physical things they need to take care of, or?
Physical, emotional, cognitive. We have a veterans program that's we're having 2 or 3 sessions a year. One coming up in this winter session in January. People can volunteer to help on a weekly basis.
What do you need volunteers for? What do they do?
Everything. Everything.
Tell me what they need. You need them for.
Well, you could be a sidewalker, which you're responsible for standing by that horse and for the security and safety of that person who is riding. That is if it's hippotherapy. Hippo is Greek for horse, and we use the horse as a therapy tool. Hippotherapy is taught by a physical therapist, an OT, or a speech therapist, and it's doctor referred. Or adaptive therapy, which is horsemanship skills. Either way, you need to have a horse leader. You need to have a sidewalker with some cases, always with hippotherapy. Barn volunteers, you can come out and help us clean the tack. You can help us muck the stalls. There's all kinds of things.
Clean them.
Well, grooming and washing the horses, yes. Administration, there's so much to do with administrative volunteers. And then our special events and projects. We just finished a golf tournament, and we're going into our annual big event on March 29th, which is our annual garden party, which supplies so much of the funding needed at New Heights.
You're going to come back and talk to us about the garden party?
I will come back and talk to you about everything now.
The golf tournament? I didn't hear anything about that.
I will come back and see you all the time, I promise.
I'm very upset with you. We're here for the community. They want to know.
We will definitely be here to talk about all of this. And volunteers is an ongoing need right now. And
it's in Folsom, right?
In Folsom on 82302 Holiday Road in Folsom, and it's beautiful. And it's we always say to come out and experience the healing power of the horse, because it is, the horse's gait emulates that of the human, so it kind of helps stretch the spine. We have so many different people with different challenges, and it's truly amazing to witness how effective the horse is as a therapy tool.
What is the most challenging? Back?
I think getting volunteers is probably the most challenging.
I mean, when you have the horse therapy.
I think it's a little of everything. It depends on what the need is. We have people coming out in groups, like with adaptive therapy, be 4, 5, 6 people in a group. Hippotherapy is one-on-one because of the PT or the OT teaching it. But I think it's always, as it is for nonprofits, we need volunteers in order to do this work. For every person who rides, we have to have volunteers. Financing is really important. We do give scholarships. We have a sliding fee scale, and 70% of our riders now need financial assistance.
Is it covered by insurance?
It's not specifically through us yet. We're working on that, but it is doctor referred or doctor recommended, doctor approved.
How long does it take to train a volunteer?
We have specific training depending on which one you're in. It could be one-day program, and then there's all types of recertifying. But to come out, you don't have to have previous horse experience, because it's not just about the horses. Obviously there's some people that want to do the leading of the horses. Some people want to come out, can I please come muck the stalls? Do the bathing and the grooming. That's all part of it too.
What are your hours of operation?
We are there from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, Monday through Friday, and Saturday at this point is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon by appointment. So on Saturday, we're not full day yet.
Is it by appointment during the week too or no?
Yes, it's not just a drop in. It's everybody, because some of the groups will come. They may come twice a week, or we may have
how many people in a
individuals.
Group?
It depends on what the challenge is. Some of the groups will be 4 or 5, just depending. Hippotherapy is one-on-one because you need that special attention there. It just depends. We even have a lift. There's a picture that we have that we brought that shows you the lift, being able to lift somebody onto the horse, and her euphoric smile when she gets onto this horse. I mean, you truly do witness the healing power of the horse. It is. And with that trust, besides what it's doing physically, emotionally, cognitively, it's just amazing. You've got to come out and see us.
The hospital. We were at the airport, and they had a dog there, and it just soothes you.
No, it is very soothing.
Yes.
And I think the horse being so attuned. I mean, there's a picture that I love, and I have to bring it next time. The horse is kind of walking down the barn, and there's someone in a wheelchair going towards the horse. You can see the connection before they get there, and then they're nose to nose.
Oh.
It just, I spend my days crying with happy tears.
How many horses do you have?
We have 13 right now.
Okay.
We do not own our own horses. They're on loan. So people may call and say, I have a perfect horse for you. We go out. We have to evaluate it. Obviously, it needs to be very calm and what we call bomb-proof, because it's got to be able to work well, but they're very sensitive to the people's needs. We get to see, does that horse work? Can we take the horse? If it will develop a lot of problems or a lot of expenses at a certain point, we'll call the owners and they'll have we have to give the horse back to them. But at this point, 13, but again, with the increase in riders comes the increase in volunteer need, increase in horses, increase in pasture, food, money. So it's a circle.
How long are each session?
It depends. It's 30 minutes. If it's a hippo session, it can be a little bit longer. If it's a adaptive riding and
You're
it's a
booked
group.
up pretty much?
We still have some slots, but we're full for the fall session, and we're almost getting into the finish of that. But we are very open to call right now. It's the time to go on our website.
What's the phone number and the website?
Phone number is 985-796-4600, and the website is newheightstherapy.org.
And if you want to email, you can go to volunteer@newheightstherapy.org.
Or just give us a call. You can go online and fill in a volunteer packet, or if you're interested in riding, fill in a rider packet, but just give us a call. My name's Debbie. If you want to call, I'll talk to you. Kim will answer the phone, and Vicky's out giving lessons, and our volunteers are busy, but we're all there to talk to you if anyone has any questions.
And when you get a patient, how long does it normally take from start to finish?
Some will stay with you for a long time because it's
6 months
or longer.
Okay.
I mean, we've got someone that's been riding since he was 6 in therapeutic riding, and he's 26. It's not that you necessarily come in ride and all of a sudden you're able to walk again. So it's therapy that can sustain and kind of continues, you being able to heal those muscles or do certain skills. And so it depends. Sometimes you'll start an adaptive, and the group changes and grows. But I think some of the people in the groups have been there for years, because these aren't things that you come in and put a Band-Aid on and leave. It is therapy. Sometimes you do heal that specific problem or an injury, and you're able to go. Other times you're there, and we love having you for as long as you need to be there.
Okay. We got about 36 seconds left. So what else can you tell us?
Please give us a call. Volunteer 16 years or older, and we do provide the special training, and we're looking Monday through Saturdays if you're available. But
What are
please
the
give
hours
us a
again?
call from 9 to 5 is when our lessons
Saturday,
are.
9 to 1.
About 9 to 1, yes, and they're all scheduled. When you come in to volunteer, you'll be assigned to a certain instructor and working with, a certain horse and a certain client or a group of clients. But please give us a call, 985-796-4600. Go to newheightstherapy.org and come experience the healing power of the horse.
Okay, and you can email Debbie at volunteer@newheightstherapy.org. And New Heights, the N and the H are
Capitalize it. It just makes it easier to read, but you can get on it. But if you give us a call, we'll get you where you need to go.
Okay, 985-796-4600.
It was so nice to see you. Thank you.
Good seeing you. Come on back anytime.
Promise.
Please.
I promise.
And what's coming up in March?
The annual garden party, which is where we make the funds that we need to keep this running and provide these scholarships.
Come talk to me about it.
I will. I
Gardening's
promise.
big. We'll be back with our next guest. Call Debbie, 985-796-4600. And you can help a lot of people and get to know some horses. 985-796-4600. We'll be back with our next guest in a few minutes, so don't go away.
And then from this angle, it all makes a star.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore. And frustration, a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy, and giving up impossible.
And then we're going to turn the lights and everybody look up.
I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought.
What's your reaction gonna be? Yeah, exactly.
And unconventional methods
Okay, what else?
common.
Tadpoles, the frogs, this is their world.
children touch them, then they die. Go ahead, go, go, go.
I'm a teacher. I make more.
Hey, we're back, and we're going to talk NAPAS, North Lake Performing Arts Society, with Sandy Hughes, the president, about Glory and Lights. Tell us about it. What's going on?
Well, this is our holiday concert. We offer one every year, and we have been fortunate over the past several years to be able to provide a concert in the Mandeville area, Mandeville, Covington, and also in the Slidell area.
Okay.
We have two wonderful churches that have been able to host us. So we're looking forward to a great crowd, and we've got some very interesting music this year. It's not the traditional types of Christmas carols, although we will be offering those as well. We have one section, I'll show it here, it's called the Ceremony of Carols, that was composed by Benjamin Britten. He is an English composer, and he actually composed this in 1942. He had left England at the start of World War II, had come to the United States and Canada, and had done some composing there. And then in 1942, he got on a Swedish cargo ship and sailed to England. And of course, that was a very difficult time because there were Nazi submarines around. But he, because there wasn't anything for him to do on the ship, he spent time thinking and composing, and took some very old carols or poems actually, and created some carols. So we're going to be performing them, and there are some that are in Latin, some that are in Middle English, and some that are in plain English. This is a special composition in that it was originally designed for a boys' choir and a harp, and then it has been performed with a women's chorus, but we're performing it with piano. So we have our wonderful pianist, Dr. Irina Kunev, who is going to be playing the arpeggios just as if it were a harp, and we will be singing with the soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. So it's a wonderful composition.
And who's the music director?
Dr. Alyssa Rowe. She is a professor of vocal performing arts at Southeastern Louisiana University.
And y'all just got the President's Arts Awards.
We
is that
did.
Correct?
Yes, that was a wonderful
well deserved.
Thank you.
Y'all been on the show a lot, do a lot. What are the dates before we get going too far?
Well, Friday, December 6th, we're performing at Hosanna Lutheran Church on Highway 190 in Mandeville. And then on Sunday, December...
What time?
At 7:30, thank you. And on Sunday, December 8th at 2:30, we will be at Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church in Slidell.
And how much are tickets?
It's $15, and the tickets can be purchased online through our website,
which is
www.stpg-TV.com.